Well, good Sunday morning, everybody. Well, it's not a lucky draw if you had a hand in choosing your own fate. And for some candidates running in November's general election, they're hoping the luck of the draw tells them something about the November results. This was the scene as candidates, supporters, and aspiring public servants gathered to draw their place on the ballot. The room quickly filled up, spinning into the hallway, actually, with excitement in the air as candidates learned where their name would appear. Laredo voters will decide 6 local races in November. At the top of the ticket is the race for mayor. Voters will also choose representatives for City Council Districts 1, 2, 3, and 6, along with municipal court judge. Districts 1 and 2 each have 2 candidates, while Districts 3 and 6 each have 3 candidates running for the job. And the mayor's seat has the largest field of all, with 5 vying for the city's top elected position. And that's where we start with this week's discussion. Joining us are KGNS political contributors. We've got Jean Belmares and Rick Laurel. They're joined by KGNS General Manager Luis Villarreal. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You know, there was, as you just saw in the video, there was a lot of excitement there with just drawing numbers.
Just drawing numbers. I saw all the applause and it looked like a rally. But
is there something to the order of the ballot, Gene?
There can be.
There can be?
There can be.
People that just go, I'm going to vote for all the ones? Or?
Absolutely. or just, this is the first one. I see the first one I pick, and that's it.
I just want to go vote.
There are people who take tests that way, by the way.
Well, I'm not talking about your college years.
I'm just saying.
All these. These was the
that's right.
The highest.
That's right. We digress.
Yes.
Well, let's start talking about, let's start off with the mayor's race, because there are 5 people vying for that seat. We've got the incumbent, Victor Trevino. We've got J.D. Gonzalez, Jorge Garza, Poncho Caso, and Elisa Cigarroa. So that's 5 seats. What do you anticipate with that election?
I think it's going to be, to unseat an incumbent is going to have to get dirty. It's going to get dirty. That's one thing about politics in Laredo, is that there's, to unseat a person that's already in that position, it's going to take them a lot of bad naming, and it's unfortunate that it's like that, because one has to shine what the qualities that you have instead of bringing out the bad qualities of somebody else. But unfortunately, that's part of the whole show.
So you think this is going to lead to a lot of mud throwing?
Of course. Unseating an incumbent is a very hard thing to do.
You got to knock out the champ, right? You can't win by points. You got to knock out the champ.
You've got a very eclectic list here of individuals. You know, the incumbent, and then you have, you know, a city councilwoman,
Poncho Caso is a former
council member,
right,
and very vocal in his criticism.
So one thing that we've talked about before is there has never been, and if you correct me if I'm wrong,
just one.
There has been only one councilman that has become mayor.
Who's that?
Saul Ramirez.
Saul was a councilman?
He was a council member before he became mayor.
I did not know that.
Ever since then, there has not been, and there's been a lot of jockeying for that position once you're on council, but there's never been a council member since then. And now what was that, in the late 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s, because Saul was mayor
right after Tatangelo.
Yeah, so, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
We're old.
Yeah, we're old. But it was a vacant seat, though, by the way. It was a vacant seat at that point.
Right.
It was an open seat.
It was an open seat.
Wow.
And then he was followed by Betty Flores, where Poncho Caso attempted as a council member to take that seat and was unsuccessful.
And there's been many unsuccessful
And
candidates.
most recently, Mercurio Martinez ran
Yeah.
also for mayor, right?
Mercurio.
Yep. Myself and
You ran for mayor too?
2010.
Wow.
That's
2010. From my count. Now, I had already termed out, so that was a general progression, and I really thought I could do a better job than that mayor at the time. But before me was John Galo, from council to mayor. So
interesting.
that's
Raul
happened
Salinas.
before. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, what are your thoughts on the mayor's race? So you think you were just mentioning a runoff? Then you think?
I think there's a runoff in the making.
With 5, it's
With
going to be
5.
hard for one to
Right.
make the.
And you know, you see some popularity in J.D. Gonzalez right now, so he's going to pull some votes. No one knows who Jorge Garza is, but he'll pull a few. And then Poncho Caso has a following. you know, he's an also ran. He's run for a lot of offices and stuff, but you know, in spite of all of that, he does share some wisdom, and then he also has a following, and so that person is going to obviously pull some votes. And then there you have Alyssa Civarroa and the mayor, both very strong candidates. One made history by winning her seat as a run-in candidate against a very seasoned politician. And so Alyssa won that race. And then when she ran again for re-election, she drew out more people than some of the North Side votes.
75% of the vote.
Yeah, so
As
very
a
strong.
written.
Prior to
That
that,
was on the second-
the second
okay.
one, she trounced her opponents. And the mayor, again, he won a pretty contested race as well to become mayor. Again, and in a runoff as well. So.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first time that we see somebody in international trade in the race.
Yeah.
JG
JG.
Gonzalez is a
So
customs
you ran
broker.
for council
Yes.
in the same line of work.
Yes, I'm a U.S. customs broker.
Right. And that's a very interesting thing because, I mean, that's our life and blood.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And
That's what
that
feeds
is
the
who we
economy.
are, right? And
That is
it's
feeding our economy.
It's kind of ironic. This is the first time that somebody's actually in there.
That I remember, I think this is the first customs broker or somebody in international trade that
Yeah.
runs for mayor.
Interesting.
Wow. So he does bring a very different insight.
He does.
To the position just because of the international trade.
And
Let's move
I
on
also
to
believe he's a veteran. So.
Yeah.
He is a veteran. Yes.
let's move on to District 2 because this one's going to be a bit colorful because of the past, the history between these two candidates.
Talk about mudslinging. I think that's going to be the
Yeah.
that's going to be the dirtiest one.
Yeah,
I think
we've been
of
talking here in the newsroom. This is West Side Story right here. You've got two families that clearly do not like each other. Yeah. So, and obviously we know what happened between Daisy Campos Rodriguez and Richie Rangel. She was the winner in the last election, and then the judge ruled that in fact there were illegal votes, and the judge ruled that Rangel was the rightful winner. And now she's going back.
Going back.
Yeah.
The amount of votes that supposedly she won by was minute. It was 6, I think, and then they found 14 illegal votes. So it's neck and neck. I think it's going to come down to who pushes the most.
I think there could be a safe bet that it'll end up in the court somewhere again.
I hope
it's
not.
possible unless the electorate gets out and votes. I mean, that, you 8 votes separate. I mean, that's the difference. It was 6 votes first, and then it swings the other way by 8 votes. Talk about every vote counting.
Yeah.
And so many of us, and me included, said, well, it doesn't really matter. You know, people, nobody comes out to vote. Only
you know
10%
what?
or 12%.
Perfect segue, G. Let me ask you both. Does it really matter? And I'm not talking from a does my vote count? Yes, my vote counts. But I know very good people, present company included, that have thrown their hat in the ring, that have served, that have done all
Genuinely
these
want
and then they go in with a genuine desire to improve the quality of life, to do better, and they get sucked in by the system and nothing gets done. So my question is, does it matter who it is? At the end of the day, the bureaucracy is going to suck you in and make you play the game the way it wants.
Well, and not only
Is that
that,
too
but
cynic?
then you've got factions too. And if you find yourself on a minority faction with not enough votes to move your agenda, you'll get nothing done.
And that's the main problem.
That
is
is.
that either you play ball or you don't get anything done for
But that's
4
what I'm
years.
saying. So
Exactly.
It's a
I
Game
mean-
of Thrones, really. Going back
I mean,
to-
but you've been there, Gene.
Yeah,
I mean,
from
do
that,
you regret any of the things that you couldn't achieve?
no. You take the time you're given, you do as much as you can, understanding that it takes time to put things together. The bureaucracy doesn't exist at the council level.
I understand that.
The bureaucracy exists at the level below. Your city managers, city directors, funding, municipal finance, all those things play a role. So what you do is you propose as many things that you know that you can fiscally responsibly get done. North Central Park, the extensions of the International and Shiloh, things. Springfield, all the water lines that were replaced in District 6, all done in 8 years. I mean, we went from 8-inch and 12-inch lines to 20s and 24s, upgraded all of the electrical at the Mohawk where Mary Helper Christians, built an elevated storage tank over there off of Killam, right? You can see that now. It's the first 2 million gallon elevated storage tank. So you do all that you can. But when you get in there, the system will suck you in if you're not surrounded by good people. I had the pleasure of serving with good council members and good city managers that understood the timelines and said, okay, what are our priorities? developed a capital improvement plan, stuck to it, no matter how rough things got or how good things got. We stuck to the CIP and we moved things
So
forward.
why are things so broken now? It's because of factions?
It's $1 million
Well,
question.
yeah, I think some of it is because of factions. But we had factions when we were on council.
We always
There's
have
always
Does anybody
sex.
remember
Weren't you
Dr.
part of the three or the gang of three? You were part of
Part of one of those gangs.
one of those gangs.
The
I remember.
capillaries
I
versus
shivved a
the.
few guys.
Well, it's just I think once you get there, you start
And you start having to make
getting
alliances.
communications
Well,
with different people,
well,
and you see who you're aligned with.
Right.
But I'll give you a good example. My good friend, Councilmember Dr. Michael Lantek, came in headstrong. We're going to do these things. Got his one mission accomplished, which was let's fire the city manager. Now, once that was done, the rest of his colleagues no longer had use of him, and he became an island unto himself. And he could not get anything passed for his district. He would make motions that would die without a second. There was a motion once that we made, and I seconded just for the sake of discussion. It was such a horrible idea that I didn't vote with him when the time came to
Even
vote.
though you seconded.
Even though I seconded for the sake of discussion. But just couldn't go along. So yeah, factions develop on council, just like they do in Congress and at the State House and everywhere else.
Yeah.
And
So it's time for a dictatorship.
and even though even though there's no, it's nonpartisan, right? You don't have parties, but you do have factions.
Yeah.
And what's lost in that translation is this global view of the city. Everybody looks at their district. What can I do for my district? And that's it.
Yes.
And so you
we've been
lose
talking
sight-
about that
yeah.
for a long time.
So you lose sight of these bigger things.
I think that's probably the worst thing that is that's happening with our council
There's
for the last 12, 18 years. I think it's I'm taking care of my district. There's no working with the other districts. There's no combining to move the city forward. I'm moving my district forward. Everybody's moving their districts forward, but that's it. But as a city, have we really grown? Have we really brought in the economic impact that we should? No, they're focused in on one thing. One wants a park, one wants, whatever it is that district needs.
and who gets the credit is very important too, in that situation, right?
Yes, because many council members start projects, they don't get to finish them. The next one takes over, and obviously that council member's in the limelight. But really, it takes years to get projects
I
done.
don't know who is it that said great things can be achieved as long as you don't care who gets the credit, right?
That's
So-
true.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is true.
That's very
and
true.
Well, I just want to bring up District 1 race, of course. We've got the incumbent, Gilbert Gonzalez, against Lupe de Leon Jr. Got that race. We have District 3 is with the incumbent, Melissa Cigarroa, with Michelle Mimi Winroth and Clarissa Claire Cardenas. That's District 3 in the Heights area.
That's going to be another polarized.
What do you,
race there.
why do you say that?
Melissa Cigarroa is you say that personalities attract and they become groups. Well, they have their own group, and it's obvious who it is, right? You have the same last names, you have the same everything. You're pushing towards the same ideas, and that's where the confrontations happen. And I think that she is easily viewed as somebody very far left, extremely far left. And the person that's running against her is
On the
on the
opposite
opposite
side of the
polarized
spectrum,
side. So it's going to be a very polarized race there.
But here's a council person who could potentially pay the price for thinking globally, because she, Melissa Cigarroa, hasn't really looked at her district the way she looks at the larger issues that are affecting our community. She's obviously concerned about the border wall, secondary water. These are all kind of global issues, and some of them extend beyond our borders and are not in our purview. Those are things that belong to the federal government, the state government, at the risk of potentially not paying attention enough to her district. And so now you have a candidate who's gone in there and said, look at our streets, look at Mercy Hospital. You've abandoned that idea of ever doing something with that.
Yeah.
So she could be paying a price for that, a more global view.
So it's the opposite of what we were just talking about.
Okay,
Right?
we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Hold that thought.
Okay.
And stick around. When we come back, Award Awards. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, a decision to push back a special election for District 8 didn't sit well with everybody. Instead, it spilled out into the open.
Suddenly the concern about having enough time seems to have disappeared. If you're trying not to give the impression of the old patron system, let's change it.
The only agenda that's being pushed tonight is the one trying to twist a practical, voter-focused decision into something personal. And I put my seat at risk because I believe that Laredo deserves better than these political manipulative schemes.
Laredo Mayor Dr. Victor Trevino and Councilwoman Alyssa Cigarroa clashed over the timing of a special election. It comes after Cigarroa announced her run for mayor, requiring a special election to hold her seat. However, council tabled the item back on Monday, saying they prefer to give potential candidates a longer filing window. Well, in a statement to KGNS after the meeting, Councilwoman Cigarroa put the blame squarely on the mayor. She said the mayor could have called a special meeting earlier and called the council's decision petty politics at taxpayers' expense. Cigarroa went on to point out that a separate election date has broader consequences, like additional costs, an effect on voter turnout, and unnecessary confusion for the public. Meanwhile, Mayor Trevino said the councilwoman's abrupt announcement left the council with a short time to act. He accused her of using the issue as a distraction from her decision to leave office and said District 8 residents deserved more than a rushed process. The mayor went on to say that any additional costs or needs created as a result of a special election were not the result of council's decision, but were the result of Cigarroa's decision to leave office. And we're going to continue with the conversation with our panelists, and then we're also going to go back and talk a little bit about the municipal court judge seat. So, you know, this got pretty testy at the council meeting. What did you think about both sides' argument?
Well, how could this have been avoided? Is resign your post with enough time so that District 8 can have enough time to have candidates apply.
What does the charter say about a situation like this?
Well, and that, you know, the charter says, and state law says, you've got to have a duly elected representative represent the district.
Is Alyssa Cigarroa the representative for District 8 today?
Yes, she is. And
Okay.
will continue
Until
to be,
when?
Until her duly elected representative is elected.
But so her position is open already?
Her position is open, yes. Her position is
And-
open, but she doesn't necessarily leave the dais until a representative has been
Win or
elected.
lose during the mayor's race, she's done.
She's done, but she will.
There's going to be an election
Yes.
for her seat.
Because
right.
the District 8 is going to have their own candidates that people are going to vote for, and she's not on that ballot. So by December 31st, she'll be out
Yeah.
one way or another.
By that time, she will be.
You know-
Either she'll be mayor or she'll be, you know, out of that position. But I'll give you an example. 2010, I'm running for mayor. There is a run for my seat. It's vacant because I am running. At that point, I was termed out. But because that election went into a runoff for District 6's council seat, I stayed on the council for another 45 days while that election took place. Now, I was in a runoff with the mayor, but had one of those candidates successfully won that seat, I would have been off the dais completely, but I'd still been in the runoff with the mayor. So again, you have to have a duly elected representative for that district, and that doesn't take place until that special election takes
So
place.
the seat can't be vacant. It has to be represented.
always has to be
From-
someone
and
from-
from-
represented.
But from a practical or financial concern, this, you know, we complain a lot about wastes and things like that. I mean, and in the overall scheme of city budget, $100,000, whatever. But it is a significant chunk of money that we're going to have to spend when it's ridiculous that we should be having this election right now at the same time.
1 month. If Councilwoman Cigarroa would have resigned 1 month before, we would have avoided all this $100,000 spent.
But she announced on August the 7th. That's when here at the news station, I believe we received the press release announcing that she was going to run. So from August the 7th through the deadline to file, that time frame is what somebody could have taken to decide whether they wanted to do it.
I just
to
don't.
apply for the
apply
District
for,
8.
right.
And again, that's one of the questions I had, and I don't have an answer for, is could they have extended the application date, left the election date the same within 120 days,
Right.
but allowed for more applicants to come in and extended the filing date? Can the city council, could they have done that?
That was the argument. The filing time does not suffice for anybody to have
real
time.
interest.
Real interest. So I would have made the election part of the general election and extended the time, like you said, for applicants.
For applicants. But it brings us back. you were talking about the cost. The cost, I think, is inconsequential when you look at what it's going to produce. It's going to produce an election that already is far removed from all the contentious elections, right? And you're going to have a special election. Those are so poorly participated in.
Yes.
It's already.
The voter turnout.
We see
Yeah, the
it.
voter toners.
You're going to have 600 people.
No, we see it on runoffs.
Yeah.
We see it as it is. Voter apathy is terrible.
Agree.
And then runoffs, it's usually
Even
even
worse.
worse.
So
And
now
then
you're-
a
Especially when
special
they're like
election.
on a
Special election,
Saturday or
no.
just, you know,
Yeah,
they
you're
choose
adding
these
insult to
dates
injury.
that,
And then
yeah.
and then 800 people
Sure.
And
No,
make a
eh,
decision.
make a decision
for
for a
an
whole
entire
district.
district. Thank
And
you.
for those who are not interested in politics, you'll soon be governed by fools.
Yes.
Well, we deserve the government we elect, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's quick to jump on this, a complaining wagon.
Yeah.
But nobody goes and votes.
Absolutely.
How many voters are there? How many show up?
yeah.
There's voter apathy is terrible.
Back, we were dating ourselves a little while ago, but back in the 90s, I had a little radio show with a buddy of mine, and we would take calls with complaints. And
Precursor to the podcast.
and,
Yeah.
before the podcast was a podcast, it was a little cult thing, radio.
Radio?
A radio, and
With
you
knobs?
with knobs and stuff.
Anyway, what is this?
So we would take these calls, and the first question was, "Did you vote?" Because if you didn't vote,
Don't
you can't
complain.
complain.
Yeah.
So the level of and you see it everywhere. You see it with the school districts. You see it with the government, the
federal,
state,
yeah.
everyone. Everybody's very quick to complain. But when there comes time, the only thing that you can actually do is vote,
Yes.
support. Yeah, you have every right to voice your opinion, but go vote.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite commercials was put out by, I think, the Democrats back in the mid 2000s, and it was all of the AARP gang, those folks that are 50 and older, holding, just talking about, I vote midterms, special elections, school boards. You can hold one of your nice little cute signs, but you're not going to vote. We will. Trump was us. They put all that stuff out there, and it was a great ad for the apathy that happens with voters these days. I mean, at some point you got to draw people to vote. Voter registration, love those, but I criticized Sylvia Bruni once because she did great at getting the registration, but then she can't get anybody to vote.
Yeah.
So you increased your rolls by 10,000, 15,000, and you increased
But you
your
still
vote.
couldn't get them to the polls.
So there was a smaller percentage of
Smaller
voting.
percentage, yeah, the smaller percentage of votes.
Hey, I want to bring up the municipal judge race. We've got Nathan Chu is the associate judge right now, running against city attorney right now, Rudy Morales.
And school board member.
And school board member, yes.
Is that all allowed?
I imagine so. I don't know if he has to leave his employ. I don't know the rule on that.
Okay.
But that's certainly a question. But then, aren't they both city employees? Nathan Chu's an associate paid by the city of Laredo. So do you both have to leave their positions to run?
Interesting.
Good question. Okay, now, we're putting...
Now, Javier Montemayor is not running?
he's not running.
No,
not running.
No,
Yeah, because he's the
there's two
municipal
seats.
There's
court
two,
judge.
so
Yeah.
there's a
Position
second.
Yeah,
judges
there's
now.
place
So
two
Javier
and
has
place
has been appointed,
Yes.
and
He's not running this.
He's not running this. So this is the other
This
seat.
is place one.
This is
That's the new
Chuy.
one.
This
This
is
is
Chuy.
taking over Chewy.
This is Chuy Dominguez's.
Right, who's
seat.
now a district, or will be sworn in as
District
district
judge.
judge January
Gotcha.
1st.
Okay.
Okay, Gene, you brought up school board, so we just got to ask you. We've had
Come
calls.
on, man.
We had calls to the newsroom wondering why your name was not on the ballot, because a lot of people thought you were going to run for school board.
I mean, again, this is why I empathize and sympathize with Alyssa Ciarroa. It takes a lot for us to make that decision. I mean, I counseled with all of my former advisors. I got my family, my friends. I called friends out of town. I went to confession. I did all these things. At the end of the day,
I mean, more people should do that.
at the end of the day, to me, there were two things that kept me from running. One is my business. My business is hits the red line and it goes this way. So I didn't want to be distracted from what my business is currently doing, and it requires my attention. But the other was my family. It requires a lot of attention as well. This is my last child in the system. I have 6 kids. 5 of them went through all of Matias de Llano, all the way to United High School. And I was afraid of the criticisms that would come if my child, who is currently number 2 in her class, that she would get if I got elected. oh yeah, she's valedictorian or salutatorian because you're a school board member. I didn't want to hurt her that way. And so when we had that discussion, you need the support of your wife.
Well, not now, but not maybe later.
Yeah, after
If
she
the school
graduates.
district exists, yes.
All right.
If it's still there.
Because the choices are thin. I mean,
It is.
And I'm going to be critical of those who decided to run. The choices are thin. Some of those folks have the wrong idea and the wrong agenda to be on the school board. We can't leave it in their hands, but I myself, I could not jump in. But I'm going to continue to advocate for the teachers
Okay.
and for the people there.
We'll see you at public comment then.
You will.
Okay. Stick around, we'll be right back. That's all the time we have, but we'll see you next Sunday for another episode of Beyond the Headlines. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Awesome.